Last week was kind of different. I was a picture and my guest was live, and this week I'm live and my guest is a picture, but next week hopefully both of us will be live. You can keep up with the show at my website, drkimberlyrackley.com, which is also a network that's free to join. There'll be more fun things to do. I'm building it, but there are groups you can join to have discussions. There's a reading group where you can sign up and receive readings 3 times a week. It's actually the most beneficial, economical way to receive readings right now. But it's a growing site, and if you want to join, go join, get a reading, a theta session, or just talk with other people who are interested in the spiritual and the metaphysical and the paranormal. I'm really excited tonight because I have a dear friend on as my guest, C.L. Parker. She's a Random House published author of romance and erotica. She's also a paranormal author, and she's had some experiences with the supernatural and magic, so we'll be talking about that as well. And she's just a fabulous lady all around. Hi, Crystal. How are you?
Hi, Kim. I'm great. Well, you said it. I'm fabulous.
You are fabulous. You're bodacious.
Bodacious. That's what we're calling it now. Well, it used to be voluptuous, and then they said, fluffy, and now we're back to bodacious.
Well, that's what I figured. I like to think of you as voluptuous, but I didn't want to, go too far. Because you're my sexy mama.
You don't want to go too far? Okay. You have me on your show.
Well, your books kind of ignite that kind of talk with me, so I'm trying to maintain myself.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know, especially when we're together.
I know.
So we met on Twitter through Ducky, a.k.a. Jim Mallard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Boy.
Yeah. What, about almost 3 years ago now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he popped my blog Radio Cherry.
Yeah. But ever since then, it's been like a fast and furious friendship, and I've watched you go from like an ebook author to an actual published author, and it's been an amazing journey to watch you succeed in such a way. I'm so proud.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It did happen really quickly, though. It did. So can I tell everyone that you predicted that anyway?
Sure. Tell them all you want.
It is.
Dr. Kimberly, could you restart your camera?
While we're at it, right? I mean, you hit that nail on the head. You sure did. I think that you told me that by August of 2013, you'd have to make an appointment to talk to me. And August of 2013 is when Dirty Secrets released.
That's amazing. Hey,
yeah, it is amazing. You're a talented lady.
Oh, thanks.
I come to you for everything that I need.
Oh, you're so sweet. I think I lost my video.
You did. Just restart your camera. It should be down there on the bottom of your Skype box.
Alrighty. Am I here?
It's working on it. There you are.
There I am. So, CL, the 4th of February is a big day for you. Tell us about that.
The 4th of February is going to be the release of Guilty Pleasures, or A Million Guilty Pleasures, which is book 2, the last book in the $1 Million Duets series that I have out now. I don't know if you can call it a series. It's a duet, 2-book story. And it's highly anticipated. I'm nervous as can be. We've already we've gone back to print a second time, and the book is not even released yet. So that's a really big deal.
That is
I'm super excited about it. But I always get terrified that I'm going to disappoint, But, the duet was written quite a long time ago, and it started out as one book. But it was just so long that we couldn't possibly print it that way. We had to break it up into 2 because we didn't want to cut anything from the story. All of it was necessary in order to make it a one book or a single title. So we ended up doing 2. what happened was that in order to get a really good cut from the first book and going into the second book, it actually means that the second book is shorter than the first book. And I think probably the only person that's going to bother is me, because you know how I am about balance.
Yes.
And I'm a little OCD, so it's not even, and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know about that, but I'm going to stomp that down, and let it roll. It is what it is.
So the first book, A Million Dirty Secrets, it sold off the bookshelves the first day of its release, correct?
It did. It sold out at Target and Barnes & Nobles nationwide. They went back to print, second print on Dirty Secrets in the first week. In the first week, Dirty Secrets sold over 7,000 copies, and that's just in the U.S. alone. It's also started to be released on gradual, because it's never at the same time, internationally as well. So there are several countries that are printing it in their own language, and that I think a lot of those are dropping in April of this year internationally. But Dirty Secrets has done very well. The last I checked, I believe I was at over 32,000 copies of Dirty Secrets have sold.
Wow.
I think that, yeah, to date. So I guess that's good. We were actually surprised that it didn't make New York Times bestsellers list.
But you're going to, remember? Don't worry.
I'm going to, but we were surprised that Dirty Secrets didn't, having sold, over 7,000 copies in the first week. Kind of like you'd think that'd be on there. But this time around. But, also with that, that's a debut author, in mainstream rather, because I was through a small print publishing house with the Supernova Saga, and then went mainstream with the Duet. So it's still like, it's a new name on the street.
Right. I want to talk about the Supernova Saga because I think that's always going to be my favorite of everything you do. Obviously, you know why. It's all supernatural and paranormal, and it's in St. Augustine.
Right. And we actually met because of that.
Exactly.
I love the Supernova Saga. That storyline is so beautiful, in my opinion. I just, I hope that one day, maybe, they'll get the recognition that they deserve. I think having been printed through a small publishing house means that you have less marketing that's given to it. So, and with a brand new author on the scene, it's really hard to do. It's a lot of work that goes into it, and I've really busted my butt with it. And everyone who's read it has fallen in love with it.
Well,
so I hope that with the success of the Duet, then maybe others will want to read something else that I've written, and they'll get their hands on the Supernova Saga, and that can get the recognition that I think that it really, really deserves.
Oh, it does. I was so sorry to see it end. I loved it. Like I read them like, I don't know, 10 times maybe, over and over again.
Yes.
I love them. Well,
I still get questions about whether or not I'm going to continue it on, and Nexus does kind of leave it open-ended so that I could continue if the urge hit me. But I feel like these character stories, for now at least, are done. And if it were to carry out even more, well, I couldn't tell you what it would be about, because then that would give away the ending of Nexus, and I don't want to do that for anyone who hasn't read it yet.
Right.
But, there's still that scene in Nexus that I wrote, and everyone who's read it will know what scene I'm talking about. I'm sure you do, Kim.
Uh-huh.
That is just so emotional for me. It was so hard for me to write. And still to this day, I have not gone back to read back over it since I wrote it. Meaning that I wrote it, and I never went back to read over it again. Not even through edits, because they never had me touch anything in that section during edits. I just can't. It's that emotional for me, and it affects me that profoundly.
Yeah, I understand. It's a really emotional piece. Definitely. But you have to, isn't it sad for you to, end a character or to end a series? I mean, it has to be sad for you because you basically bond with your characters. I mean, you are the characters in a certain way, and then suddenly they're not there anymore. Besides, in the written word,
right? But those characters are always with me. That's where they started. They're always with me. And the thing about it is, when I finished the Supernova Saga, I was actually writing. Interesting fact: I was actually writing the $1 Million Duet at the same time that I was writing Supernova, which is the first book in the Supernova Saga, because the $1 Million Duet was my outlet of sorts for naughty things that I wanted to write that didn't fit for the storyline. So it was my outlet, and what do you know? I mean, it's like it was just supposed to be something that kept me from, and people just want it. They love it. I think that's because, and we'll get on the topic later or whatever, but, the way that society and, the romance community has evolved. But with the Supernova Saga, those characters, like I said, they're still with me, and I still get Gabe. Gabe still wants to peek his head out every now and then, but I think that their story, and that's also why I say that their story came to an end, because if they had more story to tell, they would still be talking to me. They would not let me be able to ignore them. I wouldn't be able to ignore them. I'd have to write their story.
Right.
But I do miss them, but by the time that, I'm done with that story, before I'm done with that last book, I already have another story that's beaten down the door, wanting to be told. So I've been working on, a new series that refuses to not to be heard.
You have to bring, you at least have to bring a character like Gabe back into one of your future books, because Gabe was amazing.
Well, I think Des encompasses a little bit of Gabe in the duet. She's very sassy, and she's very, she's in your face. And
yes.
I think she's also a character, Gabe could do whatever he wanted and get away with it because he's Gabe. And it's just understood that that's how he is. Des is the same way. But, the thing about characters like Gabe and Des is that readers are either going to love them or hate them. There's no in between.
Right.
So, they're not for everybody, and I understand that, but it's their story, and so, it has to be told, and I tell it, and I am true to them. I don't back down on what I see or hear with any of my characters. I have to be true to them, or, they're going to let me know about it. Can you imagine Gabe, not being told the right way, how he would be in my head?
No.
I've said it a million times, and I'll say it a million times more. There is a fine line between brilliance and insanity with authors, and, we walk it every single day. We really do hear voices in our heads. They are real to us.
Like a medium does.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I could be out and about, doing my running around and my chores and, all that stuff, and I will see a situation and I'll hear Gabe in my head, and I just laugh to myself because, I think about how he would handle a situation or what he would say in a situation, and I think it's just an intense imagination, I suppose, that makes it have happened that way. But you know what? I'm grateful because I love what I do, and apparently I do it well enough to make a living at it, so that's a plus.
Well, that's very apparent. I mean, not everyone can say they're an author with Random House. Well,
I guess, I never thought in my wildest dreams that it would be Random House. I just didn't. I don't think that I'm a manifester. So I think that part of me thought that if I wished too hard or if I pushed too hard, that I would actually end up losing it instead of getting it.
Because of the attachment?
I'm sorry?
Because you were afraid you would be too attached to it, and metaphysically, if you're too attached to something, it doesn't come to you.
Right.
Yeah.
I always knew. I knew I'd be, mainstream published. I just knew it. And there were times when, I had doubts. But, you know, I knew it. I just felt it in my bones that was what I was meant to do. And the thing is that I wasn't even one of these. I've talked to a lot of authors, and they're like, oh, I really hate you right now. But I was never, you know, as a kid, writing in a journal or writing stories or, you know, I wasn't doing all that. I wasn't reading a whole lot. None of that. This just really fell into my lap, and I believe you know, because you and I have talked about it a lot. It's the running theme in the Supernova Saga that everything happens for a reason. I was meant to do this, and I'm, you know, not a day goes by that I'm not grateful that the universe, you know, helped me find my way to it. And but you know, it's a dream come true.
Well, definitely. When I was a teenager, I wanted to be a romance writer. That was my dream. I wrote all these little short stories, but I didn't feel like it was my destiny or my path. I mean, obviously, I knew I was going to end up being a psychic somehow in the world, and I didn't know I'd be a minister at the time, but I knew that whatever I did, it had to involve assisting people. But I still like writing is like my escape, like you said, like. I just create my own little worlds, and it's my way to relax and get the spirit voices out of my head or the chaos of other people out of my head.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And maybe one day, by luck, you know, maybe, you know, I'll publish a romance novel. But, you know, it's not like with you. It's not my drive. It's not my dream. Would it be cool? Yes. But it's not what's meant for me. But like you said, when you are destined to do something, when a part of you or your soul needs to be expressed, you know it deep in your bones and with every part of your being. There's no doubting that you are supposed to be that or to do that. And that's what a lot of people miss, I think, in their lives. They spend too much time doing what's expected of them or what they think they have to do rather than what their heart is telling them they're meant to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you and I have also discussed this. You know, there's I've had my bouts with writer's block, and when that is missing from me, I'm lost. I am completely lost. But when I sit down in front of the computer and the words are there, I am the most alive. I feel the most alive that I have ever been. And Ducky, don't say anything smart about that, but it's true. Like, I just come to life. And you know, I have friends and, you know, loved ones and, you know, a significant other that, you know, when I'm talking about what I'm doing, they're just staring at me, and I'm like, what? And they're like, oh my God, your face, the light in your face, like, you really love this. I do. I am completely enamored by it. I love my job, and I get lost in this world. And how fantastic that with everything else that's going on around us, we can transport ourselves into this magical world where everything isn't perfect. There are problems, but they're not our problems. And
right.
We suddenly have the foresight to help these characters work through those issues. And, you know, I say that the writing is therapy for me. Maybe I'm working out some inner turmoil within, you know, myself through these characters that I didn't realize existed.
Exactly.
When I'm not writing, I feel like it's all clogged up and bottled up. But when I can let it spill on the paper, man, my guts just spill. Have you ever read a book? I think people have gotten away from doing this as much anymore. You know, we used to have, like, book clubs, et cetera, et cetera. People would actually go through the book, and they would look for hidden meanings, the bits of the author, because I think we all, you know, authors leave an imprint of ourselves or a fingerprint behind in what we write. And so for me, when I'm reading other authors who I know, I'm trying to find that author in that book that they wrote. Even though it's a fantasy that they're writing, I can still find that author, bits of that author left behind in traces, you know, of their characters or situations, et cetera, and it makes it that much more magical for me as a reader. And I feel closer to that author.
I agree, because there are some books that you read that you know that the soul of the author is in that book. And then there are some books that they're just there. And with people who write with their soul, those are the books that I can't wait to finish, that I can't put down. They're the ones that make you feel and the ones that make you think. And yeah, I mean, you can tell right away when an author has put her heart and soul into a novel.
Mm-hmm. It's my go. It's my go to make you feel every single emotion that character is feeling. And if I can't make you feel that emotion, if I can't put you there, if you can't feel that sun on your face or smell the salt air or the sand between your toes, then I haven't done my job right. And that's why I also like writing from multiple points of view, because you can only pull out, I mean, a good author can show you both sides of the story, but to be able to delve deep into that other person's psyche to see where it came from, I love doing that. I love being inside, both of the characters' heads, the main characters' heads. But, if I can make, when I get, it should probably make me feel bad, I don't know, when someone messages me and says, "You made me cry, damn it," I'm kind of going, yes, like,
that's what you
I really
want.
Wanted it. Yes, I really wanted it. And then, like, my pre-readers, when they're reading a chapter and they're like, "Oh my God, you did this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah," and they're pulling out something that the average person probably wouldn't see off the top of it if they're just skimming through the pages, and they're just, I don't know, maybe they're reading for speed to say that they read so many books. I don't know, not saying that people who read, have goals like that, that's what they're doing. But, there's the soulful reader also. The reader that really wants to take their time and they want to absorb what they're reading. And that's who I'm writing for. That's who I'm writing for. I want them to come back when they close the book, if they can close the book, for it to resonate with them later on when, I don't know, they're standing at the kitchen sink doing dishes, or they're going through the grocery store and, something that a character ate while they were, bacon. Hello, I smell bacon. They smell bacon. To remember Chapter 9 in Dirty Secrets, with Lainey and Noah. Hello, don't we all remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to do. I mean, and I want them, and also in my books, there are hidden, I don't know if I want to say hidden, but I try to give a message in those books also. And it's not even necessarily something that I want to tell them to look for. I want to see if they find it. When they come back and they tell me, "Oh my God, I never thought of it that way, but you really made me think," then I succeeded. Even if it's one person that comes back and tells me that, I succeeded. It's great. I love my job.
I know, especially with the Supernova saga. Like, there are so many, I really thought you were like a high priestess or something, because there are so many spiritual lessons within those 3 books. And there's the magic and the way that you use it every day in your life, and every part of the paranormal that you used in the book, it was like you know it intimately. And it was like lessons. I mean, those are real things that you can apply to your life or that you may experience every day. And I would think about that all the time. Like, something would, trigger me during the day with reading for somebody else. And I would go back to the Supernova saga and see, y'all wrote about that.
Right. That's true, too. Like, I told you that everything that I wrote about St. Augustine, I didn't even make a trip to St. Augustine until after it was done. And everything was right. Everything was right.
So
and I was amazed. I went to St. Augustine, and I thought, I'm home.
Yeah. You described it so perfectly. I mean, when you're reading, it's like you are there. And, of course, I live, 20 minutes from St. Augustine, and I go there all the time. I've been going there since I was 7 years old, and I adore it. It's my favorite place in the world. And you made me feel like I was there every time while I was reading the series. It was amazing. I can't believe that you had never been there before. That has to be intuitive talent. Like, your soul had to be connected to St. Augustine in a way that you could describe it so accurately and so emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You and I talked about that, too. I mean, I really, I am a believer in, I'm always I'm trying to find my way. You and I have discussed this a lot. I'm still trying to find my way in the universe.
So am I.
And trying to figure out, well, most of us are, right? But, I'm so it's this way because we said it's this way. And, I like to, maybe it's because I'm an author, I don't know, or maybe I'm an author because of the imagination, but, I actually like to think about things. I like to spend time even alone with my thoughts and contemplate things. And it's when something feels right, then it has to be right. Then that's the way, if it doesn't feel bad, then it can't be bad. But, when I was in St. Augustine, I really felt like maybe, a past life. That was my home. My family, my mom and my sisters, all went down with me. We went on this pilgrimage of sorts to St. Augustine, and that's what we all said, was that it felt like home.
Felt like home.
So, I don't know, maybe in a past life.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Actually, a lot of people have had past lives in St. Augustine because it was the prime place to be for so many lessons for so many souls from the 1500s. So almost a lot of people have had past lives in St. Augustine, if only they would remember. Because there were so many circumstances and so many lessons to learn from war and famine and just strife. And those are things that souls who are young, they have to live through and learn. And it's romantic, too. There were romantic times in St. Augustine where it was the place to be and where everything was perfect. But for the most part, St. Augustine has been a place of struggle and strife and even bloodlust and, the pirates and everything. But it was the perfect
pirates,
place.
Blood and love.
Pirates. I love pirates.
St. Augustine is a sexy, sexy city.
It is. It is. I have trouble sometimes. I love it. I've learned to protect myself because people don't realize how haunted St. Augustine is. The streets are haunted. Every part of the place is haunted. Even the fort, the ground that you're walking on, when you go to the fort, there are, people from long ago buried under there. When they had battles and stuff, what do you think they did? Mass graves and things. So you're like, you're walking with spirits all the time. And
right.
when we go, I have to intentionally shut myself off for the most part because it's like an onslaught of energy, even from the emotions of the tourist, and it's like an onslaught. But the magic there is amazing. You're right. It's something special. Really.
Well, and maybe that was part of it too, because the energy, I kind of soaked it up. It just really did feel alive there. But another place that's like that, New Orleans. Oh my gosh, New Orleans! I felt like I was vibrating in New Orleans, and I probably gave the best card readings of ever. Since I've been doing that in New Orleans, and. I was amazed. It was just, there were things that had never happened to me before that while I was in New Orleans happened for the first time.
Yeah, because when you're in the energy of something that you've known before but you haven't done this lifetime, it triggers. It triggers your memory. It triggers your knowing. And I don't think not many people out there know that you are a tarot card reader and you're a very impressive intuitive. I don't think many people know that.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They do now.
They do now. I hope you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I am what I am.
You are. And you actually use metaphysical principles and magic in your life, don't you?
I do.
You feel energy and you also see energy.
Well, when there is a big change, I recognize, since you and I have been friends, there are things that happen to me now that always confused me before. And, I've been able to come to you and say, Kim, I just feel like everything is just off right now. And you're able to just call it right there. And you're like, hey, you're going through an energy change. It's cool. You'll be better tomorrow. Just get through the day and just recognize it for what it is. And you are exactly right. And then that energy shift comes along and all these really fantastic things start happening for me. And, just as you call it, they're building and building and building because everything is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But at some point, it's like you reach this incredible high with all this energy. I think your mind, body, and soul kind of has to take a breather and gear back up for the next round. But yeah, I recognize these things now. Now in everything that happens in my life, whether it's negative or it's positive, if it's something that is truly affecting me in a way that I don't understand, or let's just say it's something that's not so great that's happening, it doesn't go my way, I'll now know to stop and go, okay, what's the lesson here? What's the lesson I need to learn here so that I don't have to repeat this again? And so that helps me center myself because, I'm big on balance. Don't know what that is about me, but, I'm big on balance. So I'm always looking for what's the lesson, understand that it's a lesson that I had to learn so that I'm not taking it, it's personally, of course, but I'm not taking it as a blow so much as it is, you needed to learn this. It was, it was important. And then I can take that lesson that I learned and I can move on. And I don't have to repeat that because now I am recognizing that that's what it is. Instead of blaming the whole world for everything that happens in my life.
That's a good thing. Not many people could do that.
Right. I think if everyone would stop and just think about that for a moment, and go, okay, right, what's the lesson here? Okay, I shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
This thing I shouldn't have done. I should have seen this coming because the signs were all there. And then you learn to recognize the signs later on. It just helps even with the grieving process of, and I say grieving because grieving, we don't just grieve for people, loved ones who have passed on. We grieve for things that are missing out of our life, whether it is a job or a relationship or, I don't know, a house, something, I don't know. Everything in our life, you grieve for all kinds of losses.
You do.
And it helps the grieving process to get past it and move on.
Yeah, it does. And I have to do the same thing. The first thing I think when something's not going right is, okay, what did I think wrong? What did I feel wrong? What did I project wrong? Or maybe not wrong, but not so positive. Because everybody expects me to know what's coming up in my life, and I should always be doing the right things. Simply because,
right?
but it's not that way. I cannot be psychic for myself. I can feel if things are good or bad for me, or if I should go here or not go here. But I don't get like a psychic, reading for myself, because if I did, I would know everything, and I wouldn't learn lessons. Yeah.
It's very much subjective. You don't know if you're projecting that on yourself. Like, I can't do a card reading for myself. How many times did I call you and go, I'm so frustrated because I cannot read myself in these cards? And you're like, no, we can't. Because I'm going to psychically read what I want to see. I work on intuition. So when I'm reading that, then I want to see that, the love of my life is going to ride up on his silver horse and, this great fashion or whatever. And so that's what I'm going to see. Mm-hmm. I want to see that I'm going to hit the New York Times bestsellers list. And so that's what I see. I'm projecting it onto the cards. It's not, but I have pulled cards for other people though and read them and go, oh, that's not for you. And I have to gather them up real quick because it's so for me. It's, you could tell beyond a shadow of a doubt when it's for you. And it's weird because you kind of want to go, excuse me, universe, muses, guys, could you have done this when it was just you and me time, alone time, and not when I'm trying to read somebody else, and now they think I'm an idiot because I threw down cards and they were for me and not them?
I totally understand. Definitely. So are you going to use your experiences with the tarot or the paranormal in any future books?
It's funny you should ask that. This was not even planned. But yes, it is a strong enough presence in my life that I feel like I need to use it and get it down on paper. I like to be as authentic as possible in my writing. Of course, I take creative liberties, but I'm currently working on a series that I believe will be at least 9 books, maybe more, and
wow.
it's going to have a lot to do with the paranormal realm. Probably once again using the biblical term. I'm sorry.
I hope I get to be a consultant.
Well, maybe, but the one that you're really going to be a consultant in is the series that I'll be working on after that, or maybe alongside that, because there are a lot of authors who write series alongside each other at the same time. But I do know that I want to write a series of witches.
Ooh,
and
fun.
I'm actually going to base that series on the women in my family, and probably other women in my life, and things that they have genuinely been through in their life, I have to throw this in there, taking lots of creative liberty so that I don't have readers going, oh, her sister did this. Lots of creative liberty, kind of like the lessons that they should have learned had they listened to me but didn't.
Yeah.
But, they kind of have to listen to me when I'm the author. So, yes, that one is going to be a very cute series, but it will still be heartfelt. It will not be, I can't foresee it being YA or me writing YA ever. I don't know if I ever could write YA.
Well, especially not with what you're writing now.
I like the sexy.
Exactly.
But,
you're
love, peace, chicken grease.
I don't think YA is going to go for the sexy.
No. Well, actually YA can be sexy. There's just not as much sexy to it, and it's, it might be
sexy.
I'll just say, because I'm going to throw out a little pimpage here for my girl Dorinda Jones, who, thanks to her, Random House published right now, Dorinda Jones and our wonderful agent, Alexandra Machinist. But Dorinda Jones has a YA series, and it has the sexiest kiss I have ever read in a book, period, hands down. I called her immediately afterward and went, what the what? But
wow.
Yes, I was like, you've been holding out on me, so YA can do that. I just don't know. I'm a sailor, so I have a potty mouth, and so my characters sometimes have a potty mouth too, and I don't know if that would be good for YA, but
Yeah.
I might have to have another series, outlet, outlet like this while I'm writing it.
Well, authors successfully do that. They switch genres or go back and forth between them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why you can't.
Well, it just depends on whether or not that story is in my head. Right now, if you saw the guys in my head right now, you just go, yeah, no, that's not going to be YA. That can't be YA.
Ducky is actually needing a ghostwriter. You guys should collaborate on something. That would be funny.
He needs a ghostwriter?
Yes, he does.
He hasn't gotten one of his ghosts to do it?
Exactly. Hey, he has some pretty cool stories to tell. He just doesn't have the patience to sit down and write them. Sorry, Doug.
Then he's not going to have the patience to sit down and tell me about them either. He's a little squirrel.
Mm-hmm. He's one of my favorite people in the whole world, I must say.
You know what? He's one of mine also. Definitely, of the interviews that I've done so far, he's the most memorable that I've done an interview with.
Same here. Yeah. He's a really great host. He knows exactly how to lead you and exactly what questions to ask, and he just lets you run with it.
Yeah, but what's great about Ducky's when he has me on his show, he just was like, all right, go ahead, CL. Because he has no control over it. Like, he loses complete control over it. I just take over, bless his heart, and he lets me.
Well, you're kind of a shock to him. I mean, when I think of Ducky, it's Mr. Babyface, sweet guy. And so when we come on all bold with him, he's sort of, he handles us, but he's like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. I just know he's over there blushing, and that's great for me. I just get a kick out of it. It's like, how much can I shock him,
I know. I told him before tonight's show, I'm like, you realize CL and I are going to end up bringing you up and we'll probably, make you blush or embarrass you. And he's like, expected. Poor guy.
Yeah.
But we love you, Ducky. We really do.
We love you, Ducky.
We do.
You're
I have
so
to tell
soft.
you, before the show, I got a message for you. I guess because
You got a message?
I was so tuned in to speaking with you and, being on air with you. And I started receiving, information. And you need to know that you're sort of like, things are going to be moving swiftly for you in, all areas of your life, not just with writing. And you'll actually think that, you went to Disneyland and you're on some kind of fantasy ride because that's how fantastic it's going to be. The whole feeling of what I was getting was happy accidents, that luck feeling. If you went to Biloxi and played the slots that you would win big, it was that kind of feeling. So I don't know why, but something major that's really good is coming up for you. And I'm not sure it has anything to do with writing though, but I just know it's, yeah. But you also are going to be very busy. I'm seeing from April to September, your work, obviously with the writing, you're going to be involved in a lot of events maybe and things, so that's going to be picking up for you. So I had to tell you that. I mean, I could have told you after the show, but besides.
Okay, that's funny because today I'm talking to my mom, who's my PA, and we're hammering down my schedule for, what's coming up in the months that are ahead. And in April, I have 2 events. In May, I have an event. July, I have an event. And I think it's August also I have an event. And so I was like, okay, so in June, I don't have any events right now, but I'm not scheduled anything. I'm going on a vacation. So it's we had everything. There were things that are playing. March, I'm turning the big 4-0.
You're such a baby. I'm turning 4-5. Oh.
I know, but, it's everyone's like, oh, we have to throw a big party for you. And part of me is I don't want to acknowledge the 40th birthday, but then the other part of me is party, huh?
I get
it. So, I'm okay with that. And then, of course, February, I've got the release. So from here through at least August, you're right. I'm really busy. And I was actually concerned about where I'm going to find time to write. I still haven't finished the first book in this new series that I have coming up.
Well, you better find time to write.
I know, because I really think that this series, that's going to be the big series. I am so in love with this series, Kim. It is just, it's sexy. It's there are so many twists and turns and things just keep happening. And I'm going, oh my God, I got to write about that. And I've outlined 9 books in it. And there's a potential of more with it. And there are just some things that are just eerie and sexy. And these guys are hilarious. And then there are things that are, I'm always told that I am, even now, I'm burning patchouli. So when I write, like there, I'm protecting myself because, I'm afraid of some spirits, some elements. There are some that I am afraid of. So I try to take measures to protect myself.
Right? Didn't someone actually, isn't this the series you were telling me about that someone warned you that you would attract bad things to you if you wrote this?
Well, I mean, I've been told by, one that, oh my gosh, this is, I had one psychic friend of mine. She told me about this series before I'd even really started plotting it all out. And I thought, okay, now I'm going to have to kill you because you can't tell anybody else about this idea. When I told you about it, you're like, oh, this is going to be huge for you. It feels really big. And it is. The world itself is so overwhelming and huge and big that sometimes it's intimidating for me. because I want to be able to give it justice. But because the story is being given to me, then only I can give it justice, and that's what I have to remind myself of.
Exactly.
So, but yes, I did have another person who gets feelings for me sometimes that, I guess they're messages for me, and I'll get a message out of the blue saying, hey, whatever you're doing right now, you need to chill. And I'm not really sure what that means, but, I tend to take stuff like that seriously because whether it's right or wrong, I don't want to take any chances. But I'm very confident that my girl, you, has my back, and you're always looking. So
I always am.
And you have permission to always nose around in my life, my everything, my energy.
Aww. I feel so special.
Well, you are special.
Well, I'm your Buffy. I will slay any dark thing that messes with you. I'm like,
and I will do it right back at you.
I know.
As well.
You're pretty potent as well. Because sometimes when I'm lost, you always know how to get me out of being lost. Because I just turn myself around so badly at times. But,
You just need someone to go, what's up with that? No, we're not going to do that. Well, that's not going to be a thing. Yeah.
You're my girl.
You're my girl. Oh, look, it's a love fest.
It is. We threatened to have
fight. Hello, fight.
Well, I'm not in my pajamas.
Can you imagine if we were together in person? Watch out, St. Augustine, watch out.
Oh, yeah, that would be something. We'll have to do that one day.
Panama Hatties.
Oh, yeah.
Panama Hatties. Watch out, boys.
Oh, girl, you got to come down here so we can do that.
I know. That'd be great. Like I get, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm still amazed when someone, a reader is, excited to talk to me, or when they get excited, or when they're shocked. It almost hurts my feelings when a reader is shocked that I said something to them.
Really?
And I think that is really very sad, because what is that saying for what they're used to, how they're used to being treated by their favorite authors? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, have some authors gotten so high and mighty that they forgot how they got there in the first place? And that's really sad. And I am so glad that I have such a down-to-earth team of supporters that surround me, in my camp, as everyone's telling me, in your camp. Yes, my camp is full of a lot of down-to-earth people that will keep me grounded while still lifting me up. And they are the most invaluable things that I have in my life right now, right alongside that talent for writing, because I couldn't do it if it wasn't for them. But, I'm still amazed by, someone saying, oh, my God, I can't believe you talked to me. And I do things like, and they're surprised by it, too. And I'm just really kind of sad about it. But, for example, I had one reader who tagged me on Facebook, and she was, sending it to a lot of people. And she tagged me because my name was listed, and it was her Christmas list. And my book was listed on her Christmas list.
Oh, sweet.
So it was really sweet, wasn't it? So I go, okay, cross that one off. I got you if you'll PM me, your address. And I sent her that book, and I said, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and yours. And I sent her that book. And then I think it was just the other day, I had someone commented on a picture of Guilty Pleasures, and they said, is this book really $8? Like, it was too much, I don't have a say in what the prices are on any of these books. I have no say in it. And so I was like, I looked at that person. I was like, isn't today your birthday? Because it is. It was. It was their birthday. And I said, how about a birthday present for me? Why don't I give you the book on me? Happy birthday. But she never responded to me, so I don't know what happened there.
Wow.
But, I just, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for the readers. None of it. If they weren't buying the book, I wouldn't have the sales. I wouldn't, my agent and, my editor wouldn't be coming back to them and saying, what else do you have? I couldn't continue to do this if they weren't supporting me. So I'm really sad when people, it feels good when they feel good, when I've made them feel good. But then it makes me think about, what they've been used to, and I'm really kind of sad about that.
Yeah.
But can we talk about real quick, because I know that we're getting ready to be over with.
Yes.
Can we just talk about real quick that the release party on February the 4th
Definitely.
is going to be super huge and filled with all kinds of amazing authors who are giving away some amazing prize packages all day long. I even have a representative from Pure Romance who is going to be doing a giveaway for some, not to adult type stuff, toys, accessories. And I have two amazing psychics who are going to be answering some questions, I believe, on their post during their hour. And then also, in addition to that, giving away a free reading. Dr. Kimberly Rackley would be one of those people, one of those psychics that are doing that. So the whole entire day is just going to be amazing fun. And I believe we're starting it at 9 a.m. and it's going to end at 11 p.m.
Yes.
I'll have books to give away. I will have the flyest T-shirts, which everyone seems to want right now. That seems to be a hot commodity, those flyest T-shirts. Hey, they make you look good, too. The shape of them is awesome. I pay the extra money for them because everyone feels good in them, and I want you to feel good.
Ooh, I have to get one.
And then, you know what? I'll send you one. Just tell me what size you want, and I'll send you one. I don't know why I didn't think about that before. And then, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, diamond necklace, a pearl necklace. Because diamonds may be a girl's best friend, but pearls are so much more fun.
Exactly.
And we also have a Kindle Fire, I believe it's HD, that I'm giving away that will be preloaded with all 5 of my titles that are out right now.
Wow. That's a pretty big prize.
Got to be present to win it. It'll be on Facebook. So just if you just go to my page on Facebook, I'm putting a link on there at least probably every day. There's a link to it. So definitely on the 4th, we'll be doing that. And you don't have to be there all day long. You can pop in and out, but kind of you might want to keep track of when the big prizes are going to go out, which will be in the evening. I won't make that during the day while everybody's at work.
I'm supposed to be in definitely at 7, but I'm popping in and out during the day.
Okay, you're going to be in you're in on what time?
7.
7.
Yeah, that's when
that's really great time. So see, nobody's going to miss that. Woot woot.
Well, I
might actually bite into some of your time to kind of promote some of the big projects.
I'm supposedly a feature, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, yours is probably going to be one that's going to take a while anyway because you're very generous about what it is that you're offering. I can't even believe that. During that hour, you're just going to answer, is that right? You're going to answer like some very minor questions, let them post, and then, you're going to kind of pick what you can answer right then and then give the big one away?
Yes. Okay. And then I'll give the big one away. Yeah. Yes. But you have to ask a question and be present to get the full reading from me later on. So.
Right, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
To win that one. So, that is awesome and generous. And thank you so much for offering that, Kim.
You're so welcome. I would do anything for you. Plus, I love readings.
Yeah. And you know what? I know that, too. That's the thing. I know that, and you know that it works both ways.
I know. Oh, Love Fest.
What?
Love Fest again. We're doing Love Fest. Speaking of
I have a girly crush on Dr. Kim.
Likewise. You're my Catwoman. I remember that picture you sent me that one time of Catwoman and Supergirl.
Yes.
Yeah. I still have that in my phone. I love it. When I need to laugh,
That's so us.
It is us. It is.
Do you have that as like my profile picture, like my contact picture?
I do, actually.
That's great.
I know. Marty still gets a big kick out of it. He loved it too.
Tell him I said, don't be hating, shoo.
So tell us where we can find you on Twitter, Facebook, your website, all that kind of thing. Well, I know what
Okay, my website is clparkerofficial.com. On Facebook, I'm at CL Parker. Twitter, it is at the CL Parker. I believe Instagram is also the CL Parker. I'm on Pinterest, LinkedIn, Google Plus. A link to actually all of my accounts are on my website, clparkerofficial.com, so you can find all of that. You can also find a link to all your favorite retailers at the bottom of the homepage of my website, so that you can go and pre-order Guilty Pleasures and order Dirty Secrets, so that you have the books. You should read them in order for sure.
Definitely.
And all of, Supernova, Cataclysm, and Nexus, those links are available also. There's also a blurb for each book. And there's a link to my blog from my website also that I'm so lazy about posting on. But, sometimes I'm just so busy, and I don't realize it until it's been a couple of months. I'm like, oh, it's been a couple of months. I need to think of something to write about. But I do try.
So do I. I write for so many blogs that sometimes I get lost in it. I really need to tone it down. I don't write my own blog as much as I write for everyone else's blogs.
And I try to do something thoughtful, and it takes me all day long. And then, I'm thinking, oh, I'll do a blog post real quick, but it's taken all day, and I didn't get any writing done, or any of that business that I need done, because this really is a full-time job. We don't just sit down behind a computer and write books. There's the marketing and, the promotion that goes along with all of it, and you want to pay attention to your readers. Me, for sure, I do that one-on-one. I don't, have anybody else do that for me. And that's all me interacting with them, because I know that they'd appreciate it the same way I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Well, CL, we are out of time, and I'm so glad that you came on. Thank you, darling.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching The Mystic View.